Aibowan, Wanakkam, good morning and welcome to Newsline on a very special day, the 4th of February, Independence Day. And joining me this morning is Bandula Jayasekara. Good morning, Bandula.
Good morning, Faraz.
And how are you?
Fine.
I have a task for you on this wonderful Independence Day.
What's the task?
Please introduce our guests.
That's interesting. But I am wondering why, how come you are not in your national costume?
This is diversity. You are in your national.
Yeah.
I am in some other
I
form
thought
of
you could have come in a
dress.
weight tea or something.
And
Anyway, you are given me a task.
Yes,
we are
please.
joined by Professor J.B. Disanayaka. He was also a former ambassador to Thailand. And my good friend Shaminda Ferdinandu, Deputy Editor of The Island.
Well done. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for being on Newsline.
Good morning. Morning to you.
68 years as we embark on our 69th year of independence. Professor, how does it feel? What do you think we've achieved?
Well, we have achieved independence to
Right.
begin with.
Yeah.
Whether we are enjoying that independence or not is another matter. But we did achieve independence. We are free now. We are no more a colony.
Right.
So we are a republic now. And my ideal independent nation is something built on 4 strong pillars of peace, prosperity, justice, and dignity. These are strong pillars on which any ideal independent nation built. So we have to go towards it now. We don't have all that now, but our ultimate aim should be to achieve these 4. First, peace. Peace means there is no war. War and peace are two sides of the same thing. When there is peace, there is no war. When there is no war, there is peace. So that's political peace. Then economic prosperity. We need money to do whatever we want. To build schools, roads, maybe to repair old irrigational, canals and all that. We need money. So we have to have that economic prosperity. Then justice, that all citizens must have equal role to play and that they have rights. Whether you are of this caste or creed or religion, no, all are Sri Lankans.
Yes.
They have equal rights.
So without any sort of ethnic bias.
Irrespective of your ethnicity, caste, religion or link, you have the same right, all of us. So the government must ensure that we have and that we enjoy it. Every child has a right to get educated in the best school possible.
St. Thomas's College.
Or Anand, one of these,
Yes.
or even
Maristella.
Horana.
Whatever. Yes, sorry.
No.
Yeah, go on.
We don't need good schools in Colombo only if government provides better schools in faraway places.
Yeah.
That parents want to see that their children get the best education.
That's a right?
That's a right and best education. So if these rural schools have good staff with teachers in mathematics, English, then maybe technological studies, they'll prefer to send it to their place. They try to get a good school in Colombo, one of the so-called popular schools, simply because the rural schools lack these facilities. Not that they care very much about Royal or Trinity or whatever it is, but they have, for some reason, because of their history and all that, the traumas, because of a long history of the Royal. But we can build many Royals and St. Thomas's outside. Provide the money. So for that we need money. And it should be spent in the right way. I mean, you can take the money, but you might spend the money for something else. So build a nice swimming pool in one of these rural schools. Not only at Royal and Anand.
And hopefully a swimming pool that isn't filled with sand to hide gold.
Hopefully not.
Shamindra, what have we achieved? Independence since 1948.
See, for us, people talk about independence. We mark the event with various events. But at the end of the day, we are still controlled by outside parties. The IMF, the Indians, the Chinese, Americans. They are controlled. Right? So that is the story. That is the story. Now you see, you take EU. We are being controlled by EU. Right? Although we talk about independence, we are very happy. We have a military parade on this day and we talk big about it. You will realize when you coordinate, when you operate with other countries, work with other countries, we have been controlled in many ways. Bound will realize it. Because you represented our country abroad. We are controlled by many parties.
But is it necessary to parade our military hardware on the streets of Colombo and causing grave inconvenience to the public at large? Isn't it better to, instead of bringing this big, heavy, cumbersome equipment, hard to maneuver and so on, and block up all the streets? It's so inconvenient to travel between one eatery to another and take 20 minutes when normally it'll take a minute or two. But isn't it better to be, wouldn't it be more inclusive and more representative of the people of this country if we were to celebrate independence with traditional dances, music, happy things, lovely, like a sound of, like a baby making happy sounds. So we make happy sounds. There are traditional dancing from the different provinces and so on, the different types. And why can't we have a party? A
cultural pageant.
Yes, a cultural pageant. Thank you. That was the word that I was looking for.
I totally disagree with you.
Oh, really?
We must celebrate.
Goodness me.
Yes, certainly.
We've got a guest who's disagreeing with us.
See, all the countries in the region and the world, they celebrate. Now, the present Canadian High Commissioner wrote to the previous government. She demanded that Sri Lanka stop having a military parade in May to celebrate Sri Lanka's victory over the LTT. Right? The Canadians celebrate their victory over Nazi Germany 70 years after that event, right? So we are being prevented, we are being asked not to celebrate our victory over the LTT. Now just see, there's a huge difference between celebrating Independence Day with a military parade earlier. But after Sri Lanka's war against the LTT, our victory over the LTT, I think we should celebrate it, right?
But this is not a victory over the LTT. This is today is the day that we rid ourselves of the colonial...
Not today. I think if India has a right to do it, have a huge military parade, Malaysians, the Japanese...
No, everybody has a right. But why can't we have the courage to be different?
I don't think so. I totally disagree with you. Because the next year they'll say, you don't need an army. You don't need an army. Now already...
We have an army that is bigger.
They have grounded MiGs. They have grounded Mi-24s. Right? In about 10 years' time, they may say, the politicians say, they will tell us, you don't need an army because there's peace. Right? It will happen.
But you certainly don't need an army, surely, of over 150,000 people.
Maybe with the current situation, we can reduce to a certain extent, but we must maintain a very strong army.
But our army is bigger than that in Great Britain.
The Great Britain, with their equipment, their technology, they can do it because UK can ask for US help. They have the Australians, they have the Canadians. It's a huge military power. But Sri Lanka is all alone because for us, during the war, nobody helped us. No one.
I think there was a little bit of help covertly.
Yeah, they provided intelligence, they provided weapons, but the Sri Lankans had to fight the LTT. That's the truth.
Thermobaric weapons.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
We'll leave that because that's so unlike Independence Day.
This army parade symbolizes something, that we are in a position to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Armies normally for defense, they are needed for defense. So we show on this day that we have the armies on our side to defend ourselves from any foreign interference. It's more symbolic than whether we can do it on another matter. But then on that day we show to the world that we are strong enough, we have all the necessary armor and all that to defend ourselves. That's very necessary for an independent country. We don't want others to come and interfere or, so to show that.
Shamindra, my Gattalua, if you like, is that it's financial. Now, we have so many people post the tsunami who still need housing, okay?
Yeah.
And others as well. There's a some people they're Muslims who were evicted overnight by the LTT, who are still living in a camp in just off Puttlam. Now, if you calculate all the costs of, even though we have crashing energy prices all over the world, there's still a cost to fly those aircraft and fly past and so on, repainting all these heavy and equipment and so on. And all the soldiers, I looked at them a bit closely yesterday because I had no choice. I was stuck in traffic, so I had to see them. And they all looked very tired. It was only about 8:30 in the morning. And they looked really tired, and they were like that. Right? Now, if you calculate all that money, wouldn't it be better, just one year, only 1 year, you take all that money, you could build loads of houses.
I think we should calculate the expenses of the politicians,
Certainly.
their perks,
Now,
the facilities.
our
That could help us.
Speaker, Mr. Karu Jayasuriya, he
Yes.
said the taxpayer, it's 4.2 million rupees a day. Every day the parliament sits, maybe they can close down the parliament.
For a day? Well, 4.2 million is not enough
No.
to build these
For
houses.
8 days.
8 days. 8 days a month.
7 days a week.
I mean, if they do, if you really want to save money, there are various ways and means to save money.
Right.
You take the foreign service, you take other ministries, they are squandering funds, public funds.
Yeah.
So, if all people think there's no need for the army, there's no need
No,
for
not that there's no need. What I'm saying is, in
not at the expense
peacetime,
of national security.
yes, but in
Definitely not.
peacetime, we know we've got it because we've dispatched Prabhakaran to where he deserves to be, right? So we know we've got it. And why isn't it a bit sort of too much just to parade all this? A little bit, a couple of tanks here and a few battalions and march, and then mix it all with more to get the people included. Because today is the day
I
for
agree
the
with you.
people.
Certainly.
And most of this blessed place is all closed off. So where on earth is the public coming to see it? They'll have to watch it thanks to this network, for example, on Sirius and so on, where they can see it.
No, that's true. So people can't get there. How many people? Yeah, that's because those days people could go for this. But you're like, there is a big problem there.
The national this event Bandula changed during the war. In 1997, I think the former President Kumaratunga invited Prince Charles, and during that time the LTT wanted to stop that event. They carried out that attack on Sridhara Malika, 1997 January, right?
Did he come?
Of
He
course.
came. See, a lot of people
And the day he
blame.
left, that evening also there was a suicide bomber near in Slave Island, I remember.
A lot of people blame Mrs. Kumaratunga for inviting him. I don't agree with them, right? The LTT, the diaspora wanted to prevent the British from taking part in that event. They carried out that attack in Kandy. But still, Prince Charles came. He attended the event.
Well, he's Mr. Action Man himself, so yes, well, good on him for coming.
So we have to be grateful. Yes, certainly.
But we must be even more grateful and recognize the fact that President Kumaratunga was proactive and had the vision to invite him here.
Certainly.
She was well advised, and probably was Lakshman Kadigama the foreign minister then?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Was she late for the Independence Day parade?
She probably
I
was.
think there was a story, if I'm not mistaken, I'm serious, there was a story she kept.
Was she?
Yeah, that's what I want. I'm sure Shamin
She had another
I
event to
don't think
attend
so.
before.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. She was there on time.
Okay. All right. On that note, we'll take a short break and do rejoin us on this wonderful day, Independence Day. Aiboan, Wanakam, good morning and welcome back to Newsline. We have with us the news editor of the Island newspaper, Shavindra Ferdinando, and we have Professor Dissanayake here with us. Diversity, one of the things that independence has brought us is it has highlighted how diverse we are. But isn't it almost a paradox that today, on the 4th of February, 68 years after independence, in the Colombo prison system, we have a diverse collection of inmates today. We have approximately 30 or 40 hardcore LTT prisoners held in the G block. We have got in other blocks, and importantly not in the prison hospital, we have the son of the former president. Doesn't that say something? We've had 68 years to get this blessed thing right about equality and that you must not abuse your position and so on. And yet, 68 years later, we have this poor chap, is the second son of the president, in remand. What does it say about this culture of political patronage and abuse of power and so on? Well, what does it say, Professor?
Well, we say, Lord Acton said about power, that power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
So power is a very dangerous thing, and once the politicians get power, once you get the power, they need power. To govern a country, you need power. But that power must be used in a very fair and just way, not haphazardly. So they should know, to do anything you need power.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a professor, I need some kind of power, so that I can do my lectures properly. You see,
Yeah.
so but I should not abuse power. That's why I said power can be abused. And now what's happening is they have power and they abuse it, or use it for corruption, for nepotism, for other things like that.
I mean, I'm not suggesting that young Yoshita is guilty by any stretch of the imagination, because of course he's not until proven otherwise. But my point is that 68 years after independence, we find a politician, a senior politician at that, the person who ended up as the president twice of this country, and we find that his son has broken or allegedly broken some law. And
Money
it's all to
laundering.
do, yes,
It's a
but
very serious charge.
indeed. But what I'm saying is that we had President Premadasa. He had 2 kids. I don't remember Sajid or Dulanjali being remanded ever. We have President Kumaratunga has children. We've hardly actually heard about them. So, what happened? Weren't these kids taught that they must lead their father's job? It's got nothing to do with the way they can lead their lives normally.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah. Now see, Yoshita, former president's son, is not the only politician's son who got into serious trouble.
That's right. I'm
Right.
just using him as an
Right.
example.
Now, first of all, the allegation against him, basically the allegation is that he failed to explain the investment made in this television channel.
Yes.
Right. I must tell you, it's better if the government directed the CID to investigate this allegation without getting the FCID recently formed by this government to investigate former president's son. I think it's better. I mean, we have a system. This government, Yahapalana government, talk about the Independence Commission. They say that we don't need Geneva intervention because we have a good judiciary.
Yeah.
So let the normal system to investigate Yoshita Rajapaksa. Investigate them all. Investigate journalists, because there are a number of serious allegations made against journalists, taking money from the government and the private sector. So I think the Prime Minister, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe is right. He has a right to name journalists.
Well, yes, we have got no problem with
Yeah.
that. He can name them all he likes.
if they
But perhaps
want
he
to-
should name them away from the sanctity of Parliament and parliamentary privilege. Why doesn't he do it out in the open so that the journalists can have a better go at him?
Now, see, Mr. Ravi
Why does he hide
Karunanaike.
behind parliamentary privilege?
Mr. Ravi Karunanaike recently challenged Andrew Kumar Dissanayake. He said Andrew Kumar Dissanayake accused Ravi Karunanaike of getting involved in this custom issue,
Yeah.
this Prado deal, right? So the Honorable Finance Minister said, you make that allegation outside Parliament, I'll move the court against you, which he did yesterday. Now it's up to the Finance Minister to move the court against Honorable Kumar Disanayake.
But under the Customs Ordinance, the Minister of Finance can, at his discretion,
So,
do away with certain duties and so on.
Both are members of the Yahapalana government.
Yeah.
They helped the former General Secretary of the SLAP to become the President.
Yeah.
Right? So, they must investigate. The Minister, like you always say, the bond issue, there are so many other issues.
No, I really am confused about this bond issue because we have Field Marshal Fonseca who was rather vociferous about the bond and in fact called for an investigation and an explanation from the Prime Minister no less. And now they've signed an agreement. I want to know whether there was a clause in there that the Field Marshal will maintain his independence when it comes to the bond issue.
Not only that, for us, now see, the UMP, I think in 2008 or 2009, accused General Fonseca, the former army commander, of running, operating a special team which targeted journalists. Now the same political party backed him as a common presidential candidate. Then the TNA, which accused General Fonseca of killing Tamil people, urged the Tamil people to support him. So in this country, the politicians, the diplomats, officials, journalists, they change sides, they shoot
I
sides.
feel now listening to this conversation, I think we are a very independent country.
Yes.
Lots of independence, and they
can
are not
say anything you
dependent.
want to,
Yeah,
yes.
anything independent. They can do what as they please. Independent.
Myopic.
Independent within the law. You can be independent,
Yes.
but it should be within the law. All should respect law.
But because our people are independent above the law also.
That is the point.
That's
Should be
what is
independent within the.
But what does independence mean to people, let's say the rural population? What does that mean to them?
Absolutely nothing. I'm telling you, it's like the May Day. The politicians, as Bandula mentioned several times, they have taken it over. Right? They're taking it over. So all these events,
It's not workers unite, it's politicians divide.
Politics.
That's the May Day.
right? So they get together, no? I mean, if they want to increase their salaries or perks or a new vehicle or whatever, they just simply get together. They will fight over Geneva, the judiciary, independent commissions, everything. But when it comes to perks, privileges, and giving some appointments to somebody, now see, you have a high post committee in Parliament, which is empowered to stop diplomatic appointments if they feel they are not suitable. Tell me one appointment stopped by them. Never. If former President Rajapaksa wanted to appoint X as our ambassador to Cuba or Germany,
Or
he can do it.
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Mr. SPL, he did it.
Yeah.
So these people are doing the same. So it's politicians. I mean, that's the
That's
truth.
the chap who owns that house with the swimming pool and the gold
He's
on
the
the
guy.
side.
Because he asked the police to do it because he knew it was not there.
But President
Uses independence.
But President Rajapaksa said that they didn't find any gold, but they did find a pair of old slippers, and they took it away with them thinking that perhaps it was gold lined.
It was a joke for us, actually.
Yes, he does have a sense of humor,
Yes.
and I think you have to carry on the
So
side.
there, like, he got the independence even to be a court jester.
Yes, he has. So what would you like to see in the next ahead?
You said about the villages, how does it affect them? Now, our villages are basically agrarian, doing agriculture.
Yeah.
It needs water. Now, do our farmers get sufficient water to cultivate their fields? That's what the government must make sure that if the old irrigation wells don't anymore, they must see that they are rebuilt and keep the water there so that they can do a good, harvest in the season. So like that, so that's what it means for the villager. They don't care whether there are army parades at Gold Face or what. They mean nothing. It's just celebrations, all that. But for actual independence, to be an independent farmer who can sustain himself and his family, he needs that kind of agricultural development, water, like that. So make sure that the irrigation department provides sufficient water for them.
I just want to add one line that you said that a parade in Colombo does not mean anything to them. Their sons are on parade yet. Remember, the army comprised of rural youth.
Indeed.
People from Kurunegala. Our president is from Polonnaruwa, right? The former president from Hambantota. So like that, you must realize.
But was President Rajapaksa right? And sometimes he had, was I right? He took Independence Day around the country.
That's politics. No, that's politics. He was politics.
He's a good PR man.
The previous government squandered millions of rupees by trying to have it in Hambantota someplace. Right?
They took it to Kataragama,
Yes.
Anuradhapura.
So you mean to say that when it's happening in Galle Face, they're not squandering money again?
No, I mean when you try to shift something, right? The whole thing, it takes money, no?
Here it's easy, Galle Face, in comparison to create that
But
place.
next year most probably you will not be able to have there with all these new hotels coming up.
Yeah.
They will even have to shift
Galle Face.
some-
Galle Face is being
statue.
shifted further up into the sea.
By the Chinese, yes.
Yes.
Port City.
Port City, which they blocked and now they've unblocked. It's a bit like that stuff you put in the toilet, isn't it? You put it in and then it goes and then the toilet gets unblocked.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that. Anyway, it's lovely to have had both you gentlemen here and discussing independence. I hope and wish you a very happy Independence Day. Thank you both for being here. And Bandra, thank you for being on the show this
Thank you,
morning.
Father.
And you'll be going horse riding soon?
Yeah, which you will be joining on the special program.
Right. In which case, we'll leave you with this small thought for the day. Freedom in the mind, faith in the words, pride in our souls. Let's salute the nation on Independence Day. Have an excellent Independence Day. Happy Independence Day. Take care. God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukut Ali.